Hi, I am jumping back on here today. I left a post Sunday afternoon. And I was talking about a few different things, and one of them was a word called impertinence. But actually, what I wanted to be talking about is a word called impermanence. And I was sort of, again, speaking about, for me, what I was trying to convey was that the word in permanence, meaning that things are always changing and that at the end of the year, reflecting on the year and what's changed. And I kept calling the word impertinence. So I make this post, and a friend of mine calls, and we're talking, and he said, "Oh, I really liked your post. That's great." And I think you might have some feelings come up around what you said. I think what you were talking about, I understood being in permanence, but you were saying the word impertinence. And I gotta tell you, it's so wild how certain things can trigger certain emotions. And without hopefully sounding too self obsessed, I really don't want to be. And the reason I'm coming back here just to speak about this is because I did spend a very uncomfortable last 48 hours. First of all, because I do care what people think. I don't want to care what people think, but I do. So I get to live with that. The other thing is what got, for lack of a better word, really triggered for me in this was a very old idea about myself, which is a narrative that I grew up with, which is that I'm not smart, that I'm not educated, and that, dare I say, I'm stupid. And intellectually, I know that that's not true. And I've had a journey with this. I've really felt like, for many years that it was true. And I didn't have a proper education. That is the truth. I dropped out of school in high school. I was a punk rock kid. I was rebelling, but mostly I was trying to find my people, and I did. And gratefully, through music and then through acting, I started to learn about the things that actually held my interest. I had a hard time growing up also because I have a learning disorder that's kind of undiagnosed, but it's that I get words confused. So, all that to say, I got to revisit some of those very old feelings. And I bring it up here because I don't think I'm alone in this. I have a feeling, whether we talk about it as a mistake or saying something we didn't mean to say or we thought we were trying to say, but the weird shame and embarrassment and judgment that came up around this very recently for me was something that I think I'm really ready to let go of. Dare I say, I believe I am. And I guess I just want to say that I would love for anyone to comment or send their thoughts about something in their life that they're willing to let go of. I think it's a perfect time of year. Here we are in the winter solstice, and we're shedding old things and making room for new ideas and new experiences. And, being able to let go of a narrative for me that has kind of dictated a lot of my choices in my life. I've become a writer. I've always been a writer, but I would, I don't consider myself book smart per se. And again, like through studying Shakespeare and movies. And, I have an education that comes from those sources. And I will say, I was very heartened to hear one of my favorite authors, Zadie Smith, speak about on a podcast recently that when she was growing up, she would watch up to 9 hours of television a day. And I was like, oh my God. But Zadie Smith also went to Cambridge University. She's obviously a brilliant woman. But I feel like my smarts were earned in different ways. And there's room for all of us. So, again, I just wanted to come back on here and talk a little bit about how my ego went nuts. And it's not about that, but what it is about is connection. And that's why I keep showing up to Substack, because I feel like the community and the opportunity to connect with like minded, not only writers, artists of any kind, human beings. I think right now it's such an important time to not be divided. I mean, needless to say, for obvious reasons, but I don't want to divide from myself. And that's what happened to me. I divided from myself. And that's something I'm giving up in this 2025. So I wish everybody a happy holiday. And again, if anyone feels, I would love to hear your experience or your thoughts around the things that maybe once embarrassed you or humiliated you, that you are able to love yourself for and embrace yourself and to have a new experience. So thank you so much. And I wish everyone a beautiful winter solstice and a happy, healthy new year.